Have video editing got oversaturated? This is one of the most common questions that I get in my Instagram DMs, and honestly, every single time I hear it, I feel a little bit bad for that person. And the reason why is because whoever asked this question seriously, multiple times over for weeks and weeks, that person has basically already given up in their mind, and they are already looking for a cop-out. They are looking for confirmation that yes, this is oversaturated, you shouldn't do it, before they even got started. If you're actually serious about becoming a successful video editor and then potentially even transitioning to a creative agency later on, you will never even have this question cross your mind because you don't have a price tag on what you are willing to make this work. I never even thought about this question before when I was starting out. I just knew like, okay, it might be hard, it might gonna take some time, but I'm going to make it work. And that's the mentality that you need to have as well if you want to actually make it. Because if you're already looking for a cop-out before you even properly got started, you're already looking for confirmation that, yeah, you shouldn't do this, it's going to be hard, it's going to take some time, there's a lot of people competing with you, then you will never make it because it will be hard and it will take a long time probably for you to get your first high-paying client. But the reality is, what's the other alternative? Are you going to not do anything at all? And are you going to completely give up on doing anything on your own or anything entrepreneurial? That's the other alternative, right? So you can really choose between the two hards and you have to decide which one you want. And I'm not saying that being a freelancer or being a business owner is for everyone, because it's absolutely not. But I'm telling you, if you keep asking these type of questions, if you keep doubting whether this whole process works, it won't work, because it's such a cliche saying that whether you think it's going to work or whether you're not, you're both right. It's absolutely true though. And that's why it's a cliche, because your mentality is what's going to dictate whether this is going to work for you or not. If you're doubting the process, if you're trying to look for a way out or a reason why not to do it, then it won't work. But if you have the mentality of like, okay, I'm going to make this work no matter what, no matter how long it takes, then you will win. And I can always see, whenever somebody comes into my editing community, for example, which one of the two are they? And those who come into it, like asking these questions, like, is it too saturated? Should I do this? Is this the best thing for me to do? They will basically never stick around for more than a month or two. But then there can be another type of person who comes in, they are like, Vince, I see that this is a great opportunity. I want to really master these skills. And they don't even question whether it's going to work or not, because they know that there's always place at the top and there's always work for the best out there. Then they are going to win. It might take them 3 months, 6 months, maybe even more to get their first high-paying clients and be able to actually replace their full-time job. But if you think about it, what is that? Like 6 months, 1 year, even 2 years, it's nothing. The time is going to pass regardless of whether you put in the actions or if you are just sitting on the sidelines and asking these questions like, is it oversaturated? Is it even worth doing anymore? And it's the same thing with every single business model. Like if you really think about it, all the different options you have to make money on your own, right? And not necessarily work a job. You could start a bunch of things, right? You could do copywriting, you could do Amazon FBA, you could do Shopify dropshipping. So many different ways to make money. So many different ways. But it's the same thing with everything. As more and more people want to be their quote unquote own bosses, as more and more people want to make their own money and not have to necessarily go to a job, basically everything got quote unquote oversaturated, meaning there is a lot of competition in every one of these fields. But what if I told you that competition is actually a bit of an illusion? It doesn't really exist, or at least not at the top. Competition only exists at the bottom. And let me tell you why. What competition means is that there is demand for that certain thing and that there is actually a market who's willing to pay for that certain service. Unfortunately, 80+% of people never actually put their all into anything. They are always half in, half out. They are always questioning whether it's even worth doing or not. And they're always looking for that next shiny opportunity, which will be a faster way to get to their goals. And let me tell you, because I was in that situation once as well. I have tried a bunch of different business models. I tried a little bit of dropshipping, a little bit of affiliate marketing, a little bit of YouTube before I actually landed on video editing. And I was always looking for a shortcut, right? I was always looking for the fastest ways to get to my goals instead of just sticking to one thing for as long as I need to get good enough at it to actually see the rewards. And always looking for the fastest way to make money, or always looking for the fastest way to get to your goals, is actually the slowest way to get there. Because the truth is that actually every business model works. Every single skill set you can make money with. But it's just about sticking with it for long enough to actually become world class, so you will have people who will want to work with you, because nobody wants to work with the bottom 50% of any kind of skill set. The world is unfair in that sense that the distribution is not equal. It's not like if you are top 10% editor, you don't just get 10 times more orders than somebody who's bottom 10%, you actually get 100 times more or 1,000 times more money, right? It's not an equal distribution. The 20% of the best people in any field reap 80% or even more of the whole market. They get way more. And so what you should be focusing on, instead of always trying to find the next opportunity, in my humble opinion, is actually just picking one thing that you really like, that you really enjoy, and that you can see yourself doing in the long term, and then have tunnel vision and just focus in on that until you become so good that you are undeniable and people will want to work with you. But let's just break down this idea of competition, right? So let's say you are somebody who's trying to make it in the YouTube editing space. And let's just say you are working with documentary channels as an example. And you have 2,000 people competing with you, 2,000 other freelance editors who are also specialized in trying to make it in the documentary space. Well, that sounds like a lot, right? And it sounds like this market is completely oversaturated and it's not even worth doing. But let me break this down for you, how that 2,000 person competition actually looks like. So 80% of those people who you are competing with, you have to realize they never even had a client, or maybe just a couple, and they have barely any experience at all. So they are not actually serious competitors. Maybe they found out about the idea that, oh, I could actually make some money as a freelance video editor. They liked it. They did it for a couple weeks. They set up a Twitter account. Maybe they even set up a shitty portfolio. And then now you see them as a competitor because of the fact that they have a social media profile. But they never actually got experience, and they aren't actually that good at what they're doing. They lack in that area. So now that we cut out 80% of those 2,000 people, now you actually have 400 other people you are actually competing against. Now, probably around 60% of those 400 people have zero business skills, and they have no idea about how to get clients on demand. They have no idea about how to do outreach properly, how to conduct a sales call, how to handle objections. They don't know anything about that, right? So all they are relying on is probably just Fiverr, Upwork, or inbound leads and people finding them online. And maybe they have tried sending out 10, 20 outreaches, but they realized, okay, this is actually a lot harder to make it work than I thought, and they just gave up on it. So now you're actively competing with 160 or so editors in this case who are actually still trying, who are sending out some outreach. But you see how we just went down from 2,000 competitors to 160 just by weeding out the weak links. Now, out of those people who are left, maybe around the 30% of them are actually really motivated, are people who are actually disciplined and who really want to get it, right? Who also want to make this work, and they are not lazy. They are getting back to clients on time. They are actually sending out the amount of outreach they want to every day. Maybe they are actually posting consistently their work, their results, and so on, and they're actively trying to improve themselves. So now you have roughly around 50 people who are actually serious competitors in your space. And for those 50 people, there are hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of potential clients and channels that they could work with. So you have to realize that, yes, obviously these numbers I kind of made up right now in terms of the percentages, like it could be a little bit different, but you kind of get my point. Like, if you look at competition as this big iceberg, it seems very big, but you have to realize that it's actually kind of like an opposite iceberg, where you see a lot of people on the surface, but under the water, there isn't actually that many people who are actually serious, actually trying, actually disciplined, and doing what they know they are supposed to do, and consistently improving their skill set. So competition is merely an illusion, because competition shows that there is money and there is demand in the market, but there is always place at the top. That's something I've 100% learned from my last 6 years of being in this industry. And you know what the funny thing is? Again, I always hear people say this, that this is too oversaturated. There are too many good editors, but one of the biggest challenges that we actually have with my coaching students who we are building creative agencies with is finding great talent. One of the most difficult things is finding actually competent editors who are not only amazing at the editing, but also can take feedback really well, are delivering always on time, have good communication skills. There aren't that many people like that out there, trust me. So what you need to realize from this whole video, and what I want you to take away from it, is instead of spending all of this expensive energy on just trying to look for the next easiest way, if you really like editing, if you've already decided that you want to make this work, then just lock in, get rid of all the other options in your head, and just focus in on this for the next year, next 2 years, and get really, really good at your skill set. Get really, really good at the business side of it as well. And trust me, if you just put your head down and you put one step after the other for the next year, you will be in an infinitely better position than 90% of other editors in the market. So I know this was a little bit of almost motivational rant, but I really feel like I had to put this out there because I've seen so many people, telling me this, and so many people arguing with each other about this, when in reality, it's not even a real thing in my opinion. If you want help with developing the business aspect of it, and if you're already good at the editing skills, then we have something that might be able to help you, a program designed exactly to do that. So if you're interested in that, you can click the first link in the description below to see more about how that works. And otherwise, I really hope you enjoy this video. I put out more content like this designed to help you guys who are both editors trying to get more clients, or editors who are a bit more advanced and looking to transition to building a multi-six-figure creative agency. So if you want to see more of that, make sure to stick around on the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.